What you working on there?
I'm working on getting a glue present here.
Oh, you got your screwdriver out? Oh, not bad, not bad. This boy loves working. Oh, all day, every day, creating. I should film some of his creations. This is my parts graveyard, full of all kinds of stuff. But these are old gen LG units, VRF units. They're the multi-V Sync 2s. And when I say old, like I had one of the main LG techs told me he didn't even know how to work on them. That's how old they are. But the truth is, not much has changed in the overall principles and how these things work. And these units are perfect as far as getting into what all's going on. We can see everything. I'm gonna go over the electronics and pretty much all the components I'm gonna cover and explain like what they do and why and all of that. Now he's got the right tool for the job. Okay. So in these units, there are two compressors. This is the inverter and this is the standard. Now, if you ever walk up on any style of VRF unit and you want to know which is which, now a lot of the newer ones have two inverters, but if you see a contactor, then you know you've got a standard. Okay, you can also look at the wiring diagram and stuff like that. So here's what's going on electrically. We have mains coming in right here. And then it's going up, it's fused, and then it's going to a noise filter board. So all these are is giant inductors, and they're just cleaning up the AC sine wave so that it can be fed via this wiring harness up into here, up into your inverter driver board, okay? So this board right here is responsible for running the inverter. And this board, besides having a bunch of filter caps and all kinds of crap like that, let's see, what else can I point out here? These look like opto couplers. I mean, it's gonna have to have a lot of feedback circuitry and stuff like that. But here are your main drivers. Check this out right here. These drivers are made by Mitsubishi, man. That's funny. Now, this driver is an IC with a lot of stuff in it. You see all those pins? That's gonna be like feedback. And I mean, this is a whole module. It's not just like an electric component there. And of course, they generate a ton of heat, which is why those heat sinks have to be very well placed with heat sink compound right here. And then there's a fan that cools them down. Yeah, go ahead and use that. That cooling fan cools the heat sink. Now,
Dad, how do you do this?
Now, this small board here, this is almost always, they look pretty similar. This is almost always the fan, okay? We're missing a harness. There should probably be a fan there. That looks, well, no, that's power in. That's one fan, that's the other fan, okay? So this is gonna be responsible for driving the fans. My apprentice apparently needs lots of help. And this is the main logic board. And when you're trying to identify the main logic board, you're looking for all the little components and all these little wiring harnesses, because you know, you're gonna have like EEVs being driven in here. That's high and low pressure transducers. What else we got in here? Let's see, some of this. Okay, there's a crankcase heater, you know, and this is a pretty common design. You'll have a bank of relays all controlling these. And so when you see these relays next to all these connectors, those are going to be like your high voltage outputs, which on VRF units, your solenoids are always high voltage. So these right here. Now, is that yes, that is a solenoid. I'm trying to make sure I don't get that confused with the steppers, which I'll show you in a minute. All right, here we are in the guts. You're gonna have 3 lines out unless you're dealing with Mitsubishi. Now, this line can change function. It can either be discharge or suction. This is gonna be your liquid line, this little one, and then the biggest line, that's always a true suction. Now, you've got a receiver over here that's used for both compressors. So they don't care where the refrigerant's coming from, just as long as they have it. This right here is an oil separator, and oil return can be a huge issue with VRF units. So a lot of, they have more components than traditional units to deal with oil return, because part of the problem is the change in velocities that you're getting as, like 3 units cut on instead of all, 25 units, right? That's a little filter down there. This is the cap tube that just basically, sometimes these are solenoid controlled, but this cap tube right here basically is just going to feed. I'm gonna get a better light here. So this cap tube right here, sometimes they're solenoid controlled, but in this case, it's just a constant feed back to the compressor, all right? Of course, you got a reversing valve. Mitsubishi has 2 of these. And okay, here's another oil separator and feed back to that compressor. This right here, if you see something that looks like a heat exchanger, well, that's because it is. This is the subcooler. And see, in cases where you have like a few units cooling and then a few units heating, those heating units are stealing liquid. So what this can do is subcool the refrigerant further than what it is subcooled by the coil, and it can then feed the indoor units, okay? And that's why these things are tricky to work on refrigerant-wise, besides all this crap, is because they can run just fine on half charge, besides the compressors being overly taxed. But as far as performance, you could take half the charge out and they do just fine. All right, so then we're gonna have this right here is a stepper. Anytime you see multiple wires out of something like this, that's gonna be an EV. And these pipes are cut off, so I'm not really sure why that was the case. Somebody might have tried to steal the copper off or something. I don't know. I mean, they're all like that. I just meant after these were stashed down here, somebody might have wanted to get some copper. But and then your 2-wire, that's always going to be a solenoid. And the best way to get into this spaghetti of tubing is to actually look at like a schematic of the tubing. These units are so complex that they will have schematics of the actual tubing and refrigerant flow and all of that. Now this is pretty cool too. So the unit is going to take liquid off of this continuous liquid line, take it up here, and it's going to be able to feed it into the compressor. So it can modulate the superheat if it senses that this compressor is not getting enough cooling. And I will say one of the best ways to know that these are low on refrigerant is that you have a real high discharge superheat, because you just don't have the cooling that you need even if this thing is in operation, because you're really struggling with not having enough liquid. Okay, this here is doing the exact same thing. It's also liquid injection. It's just taking a bit of liquid and metering it back, but this time it's going into the receiver. So in this case, that might be if it needs to also cool that down. These compressors are also sharing oil. You can see that there's a line that goes across and connects the sumps. So this right here is a high pressure switch, and they all have this as a backup because this is the actual safety, even though they can also shut down on this logic-wise, and that is your transducer right there. All right, that's what I was looking for. So this is the high pressure, and then this right here is the low pressure transducer. And your transducers are always going to be 3 wires. I mean, it's all really, really standard. Let me see if I can get that at a better angle. You're going to have typically, this is very standard. See, you've got a red, a black, and a white. Now, the red is going to be power, so you know, like 5 volts, and then black is ground. Those wires are so twisted up, they're hard to see. And then your white is going to be your signal back, and that's going to vary between 0 and 5 volts, and that's how the unit knows what pressure it's reading, and that's how that number ends up on LGMV. Hey, can you show me that hammer? Man, you have souped that up quite a bit. What a creation. Good job. How do I like it now?
Yes.
I like it. I like it. I like it. This is a crankcase heater, and you have to be careful condemning these compressors if it's cold out and the unit has lost power, because as these compressors fill up with liquid, they will show a bad meg reading. Copeland has actually released a bulletin on their compressors stating that if you have liquid in the sump, you can read with the megger, like, I think it's half a mega ohm, so 500,000 ohms, and the compressor's still good. It's just liquid in there. So you got to be careful with that. And there are, of course, thermistors everywhere, because, you know, it's wanting to look at subcooling and all of that. Now, your EEVs, unlike a mini split system, those are all in the indoor units. So you don't have EEVs in here other than like subcooling EEVs, and you're gonna have like a main EV. Oh, you got the top off of that. There you go. All right, these things stashed back in here are usually called reactors, but, you know, and I did ask an instructor about this one time, and he had no idea, and in general, they don't really get into all of this, but I think that's another form of noise filtering. Hey, Aaron. Apparently, I'm gonna have to carry all of this stuff home because that's what he's taking to the house. Anyways, so back to these reactors. You've got power coming out of the noise filter board, and then they're going in here, going through the reactors, and then this is the main power feed for the inverter board, okay? So what that's most likely doing is not noise filtering, but since these are such beefy inductors, what it can do is just smooth out any kind of choppiness in the current that is flowing through this board as, you know, it's modulating and doing all that weird crap it does. So I say weird crap. It's not really that weird. I have a video on how these actually work. Looks like he got his first battle scar. Gotta watch out for that sheet metal, son. Let's go back over the subcooler completely. And I should have been thinking, you know, heat exchangers are not normally like this. You know, this is a more common pattern. So this is the liquid line. There's your main EV. And, you know, this can be used in the heat mode, okay? In the cooling mode, it's wide open. All right, so this is the suction side, and this valve is just metering refrigerant down into here, and then it's being taken up and just fed right back into the suction line. So you know, the machine can control how cold this gets. These are cool machines with lots and lots of controls. Lots of controls. Let's go over this oil separator a little bit more. So you have the discharge line that's coming in here, and a lot of the way these oil separators work is there's like a screen in there. And so when that hot gas is coming in there, the gas flows through the screen pretty easily, but the oil kind of hits the screen and drips back down. So the gas is coming in and just going out, and it's going out up to, well, it's hard to see, but it goes out up into here and down into our reversing valve, which is exactly where you would expect it to go. And so the oil then is coming out of there, and it's just suction pressure that is causing it to work its way through back into the compressor. So pretty cool design, pretty cool design. Now, if you're wondering, the inverter compressor ties in right here. And then there's also a feed out, like I said, you know, that's your discharge line. Now, I don't know, see if this, there are check valves in these systems, and that might be one of LG's right there. So it's hard to say exactly what they're doing at that junction. But, you know, I think that pretty well covers it. Even though this is an old gen, this is really similar, except your city multis are a bit different in that this subcooler is in the branch box. And that's how they get away with having like just two pipes to the branch box, because the branch box is really doing a lot of liquid handling, and that's completely different from every other unit because Mitsubishi patented that. Every other unit is going to be sending out that liquid line, and the branch boxes aren't doing much other than distributing whichever the indoor unit wants, whether it wants discharge, gas, or liquid. This is fun equipment to work on. I really do like working on VRF stuff. It could be very frustrating at times, but it's really cool equipment, and this is the future. Like, not this is kind of a piece of junk old gin here, but this is like maybe the first Tesla. This is the future. Eventually, these are probably going to be mandated. In fact, in Washington State, they no longer allow commercial buildings to use natural gas or anything like that, any kind of fossil fuel for heat. And so if your only option is electric, then this is really your only option. It's the only one that makes sense, because if you got to go electric, these units are ridiculously efficient. And if you don't know, see, the beauty of the branch box is that when you have an indoor unit, okay, that's in heat, right? So it's taking in that hot gas and then condensing it in the coil. Well, instead of that liquid being sent back, it can just be sent to another unit that's calling for AC. So they can literally, very easily, without a lot involved, send heat from one side of a building over to the other side. This boy is a very busy boy. What you doing there, son?
I'm making some stairs.
Some stairs? Okay, well, all right. Hey, don't step on those filters. You'll crush them, okay? I'll help you in a minute. Here's a branch box right here. And so this is a, like a 3-unit branch box. Mitsubishi has got up to like 12 or 16, something crazy like that. And so you see the 3 lines coming in, and then you've got these solenoids controlling what goes where. Pretty straightforward electronics as well, like I was talking about, relay bank and a bunch of solenoids. And yeah, these have got to be, yeah, these are high voltage as well. So unless that transformer, that's a good question, hang on. Okay, yes, these solenoids are all high voltage. So this right here, this transformer, you know, is coming, so mains is going into the board there, and then it's feeding the transformer back up here. And the transformer is probably just powering the board. So yeah, because that might be some switch mode stuff down in there. Now, all of these boxes, you know, you have to address them and set them up. And there's a lot of addressing and all of that in the VRF world, because you've got so much equipment and so many random locations. The master has got to know what's going on, what's where, and all that. A lot of these brands will run like a pipe detect where they can identify, well, I say a lot of brands, I mean, yeah, they all have like internal logic as a startup feature, you know, where like LGs will pipe detect, Daikin's do other stuff. I don't think they do pipe detection, but you know, when they're first booted up, they go through a mode where they're just learning, they're building their addresses and all of that in the main board. And then whatever other addresses you're putting into the main controller, well, you know, those are just, those are not necessarily what the main logic board is using. Sometimes it has its own address book, and that can cause problems if you have some kind of glitch in there, and then you got to reflash the board. All right, now I think that's about it. Man, that is a working boy. Hey, what are you doing with those? For your house?
Yes.
All right. Wow. Yep, there he goes. Just Energizer Bunny. Goes, goes, goes. Wow. Hey, try not to crush those filters, okay?
I know it. I did turn it the way I wanted.
All right. Man, he's got some muscles. Let's see here. Let's see if he can pick it up. These things are pretty heavy. Jeez. There we go. That's right, boy. Now, I do save screws and stuff off these units because they're so easy to lose. Apparently they're a hot commodity. Oh, man. Oh, what a pack rat. Best way to recycle filter boxes right here. Yeah, boy.
I'm gonna take this open.
Okay. But, Kid loves tape, man. Go through quite a few rolls of like Scotch tape, masking tape, and all that kind of stuff on a regular basis. Loves that tape. Decent technique though. Leaving the paper long, good, good, good. And I believe he would be perfect in crawl spaces. Watch this. Oh yeah. There we go. This is crawl space training. Real. I need to go self-employed and get this boy installing units. Whoa! You taping this one too?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey.
I found a way to slow him up. Now he can't bend his arms. Try and bend your arms. Try and bend them. Finally. I'm telling you, man, he just never stops. What are you doing with that, son? I know this is a lot of recording of him, but I'm just trying to get this archived so he can go back and see himself once he ends up becoming whatever he's going to become. It's looking like he's going to be in the trades, that's for sure. Wow. So he stabbed this foam through with some all thread. What are you doing there, son?
Getting a black.
Oh, getting a triple D. He knows how to go for the good stuff. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, you need the box, huh? Oh boy. See, in this case, I think child labor would not be cruel at all. It's only cruel if you don't pay him much, but this boy right here, I could pay him $5–10 an hour all day long. Now he'll be worth more than that soon. You a hard worker, son? What are you doing? Huh? Got a drywall knife there? Oh boy, this just goes on and on. You should see our house. Every day, it's just like plastered with all kinds of creations. Like this kind of stuff is just everywhere. This never stops. Whew, we've been tested to our limit. He's the youngest of 4, so it's been tough and amazing, exhilarating, all of those things that parenthood always is.